the more dominant the woman is in the relationship, the more that the male testosterone decreases.
Yeah.
And could that be argued that, like, the kind of more masculine, more feminine the guy is, the less the difference in their testosterone levels, and so maybe it's like a big part of just like the way shit is nowadays. And also, can you expand on that? Like, how does that actually work with testosterone? Like, how does it trigger that?
Well, we're going into some areas that I don't quite understand, but I just find interesting. So, like the same thing happens with like your position in the social hierarchy generally, right? And that the great thing about being a human being is our social hierarchy isn't like stags who fight with their antlers, right, to compete for mates. We're not that primitive anymore. We can do things like earn money or show character or have social status or use humor or whatever to gain in the social hierarchy. We can get really good in a very specific domain, whether it's like business or art or wheelchair basketball, whatever the fuck you want to choose, right? You can get good at a thing. And as you rise up that hierarchy, your testosterone will increase. And I think it's about the dynamic that causes a testosterone decrease of like the male is more submissive in a relationship. Now, obviously, I'm not like a relationship expert. I'd be interested, Jacob, if we can get a guest on to talk about this kind of thing, because it is interesting. Like even stats like if the wife is the main breadwinner, so she brings back the most money to the household, the probability of divorce is like massively higher. And we even found out last week in a lecture. Now, I'm not saying I agree with this stat. I'm just saying it's interesting. There was a result in the 1980s that found the more educated a man's wife was, the more likely he was to have coronary heart disease. Like weird stuff like that. Weird stuff. I'm not saying it's weird, bro. And you could definitely argue that that's like 1980s sexist, like misogynist, like research. 100%. I would agree with that bandwagon to a large degree. But it's an interesting conversation, isn't it? Yeah. What was your original question? Tell me a bit more about where I got that from.
I was just thinking of testosterone as maybe like a different point of view to your kind of like masculine. Does that link to the masculine and feminine energy, like of a guy? Like, because if they were to have less testosterone, would they be kind of more feminine?
Yeah. What comes first? The levels of testosterone or the extent that you have masculine energy? It's like a chicken or the egg situation. Yeah. I don't know. I think what I would say is the guy that's the most masculine guy has the most testosterone. Less masculine guy will have less testosterone. Whichever comes first in that situation, I'm not ultimately sure. I know like we gain testosterone from weird, like kind of abstract things like winning. Winning raises your testosterone. Talking to females raises your testosterone. Competing with other competing with other teammates or challengers or whatever increases our testosterone. If you lose, it decreases it. It's like it is very, very connected to social hierarchy dynamics and complicated stuff like that, which is just, it's cautious to get into in the modern day with how things are. And like you say something, you'll get shamed for it. Like I'm very careful in how I talk about this. It's so great. It's so nuanced.
No, don't be. I did this like massive, like interesting round of like what is doing well at the moment online in our niche, in the podcasting kind of niche. And the thing that came up the most was male versus female, transgender, politics, and the kind of everything in between, with like the things that like putting two basically like against each other, or like how different rates decrease this thing. And that is what's really popping off at the moment. And I think it makes sense because obviously everyone can relate to it, and everyone knows men and females like one of the biggest things in the world. But what we're getting, so I know this shit's going to get views if I do post it, but well, I think we're getting to something that I'm trying to think about. It's almost like something external happens, and that thing, then however we respond to it. So whether that's like a partner with different attributes, whether that's winning in a sport, or whether that's I even saw that you mentioned like a long time ago about how the amount of time a guy spends on Instagram, the lower his testosterone was. Now,
that was justified because, or that was elaborated by saying that when you're on Instagram, what are you seeing? most of the time you're seeing people that are higher than you in the social hierarchy, whether it's the guy that's like traveling and lives a nomadic lifestyle and makes money online with a nice car or the nice girlfriend or the nice clothes or whatever. Like, or it's you just see people doing cool shit, whether it's someone doing a crazy snowboarding trick or like Cristiano Ronaldo like goal compilation or whatever. You're seeing people doing cool shit because cool shit is what trends. Cool shit is what catches eyeballs. But when you're scrolling Instagram, you're seeing all this cool shit and all you're doing is sitting in your bed. Like, there's this rift. You will, even if it's subconsciously, compare yourself to that person in this little short clip or whatever. Compare yourself to where they are in the social hierarchy, and your testosterone will likely respond to that. I'm not an expert. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but it makes sense in my head. It makes sense. And that's why, Jake, I don't have Instagram. I don't have social media. And I really think it's a dangerous thing because even people I know, even people I'm friends with and I'm good acquaintances with, if I saw their daily life all the time, I would constantly compare myself to it. Constantly. Even though I seem like quite a guy who's worked on himself and has himself put together, I definitely would. So you have to be wary about that shit. You are, like Peterson said, you're not very different from the lobster experiencing serotonin changes when it wins or loses fights. And the fights these days, we're not like stags fighting with our antlers. We're socially competing, and it's very unconscious. It's very informal. It's very covert, but I think it still happens.
The bit that I'm trying to figure out though is, say I knock someone out in a boxing ring. How does that feeling of winning trigger my ego and then lead to more hormones of testosterone? What's that kind of chain of command happening there? Like, how does it get from something happens external, it then gives me a big neurological feeling, and then that somehow changes my hormones?
Yeah. No, it's one of those, Jake, where, and I don't say this very often, I say it less than I should. I'm not sure. But it's a really good question. It's a really, really good question. Why is it when I throw a basketball into a small space, a little net, and it swishes, and why do I feel like the guy after I do that? I don't know. I need it's a good question. What's going on biologically? When I see that happen, how does my brain within a split second perceive like I've hit the target? Now, I remember Peterson a while ago talking about this. Why people go to sports games. Why do people queue up for hours and hours and hours, stand in queues, pay money for season tickets or whatever to watch a 90-minute football game that may end 1-0, right? But that one goal, everyone in the team's fans of the goal scorer, everyone erupts in applause. There's standing ovations, there's singing, there's clapping, there's screaming, and we love it. We're captivated by it, especially if it's a good, beautiful goal, a one that required great skill and mastery. We love seeing human beings hit the target. So maybe that's part of it. You're a boxer in a boxing ring. The target of that situation, the thing your ego is focused on, is knocking out that other person, or at least gaining enough points during the rounds that you are the winner. And so when you hit that target, you perceive that win, and that gives you the rush of endorphins, the rush of raised testosterone. I'm playing with ideas here, but if anyone knows, get in touch, and maybe we should research this. It makes sense though.
That's interesting as well, though, because it kind of not only Anthony Joshua, when he knocks someone out, increases the testosterone rise, but the people that are watching Anthony Joshua,
yes. There is data on that. A winning team, when they watch whatever sport it is, they will experience a testosterone boost if their team wins. But think about it this way, Jake. I think generally speaking, human beings love observing mastery. So like on my birthday celebration, when you came over and we had the violinist in the living room, it was quite awkward, right? But what we enjoyed about it was seeing somebody display mastery. And that's she was hitting the target in a perfect way. The notes flowed together stupendously. We were seeing something happen. Like, it was almost a religious experience. Same thing when you see like Cristiano Ronaldo hit a crazy free kick, or watch Steph Curry hit a deep three. It's like, there's something to it. And if you're that person doing it, of course you can have higher testosterone. It just makes sense.
But I know you're kind of enjoying the music and you're enjoying watching the boxer, but why watching it would you get anything sort of hormonally from it? Why would you feel that rush? I know we want to see mastery, but why would that then translate to us feeling really good? Because you're not the one that's doing it. You're just watching the game.
But I think it's a good question. I think we're very tribal. We still have primitive man's brain, right? And I think if your ego is identified with that person or that team, let's say you're an Arsenal fan, and you watch Arsenal beat Manchester United with a winning goal in the 90th minute, because you identify as an Arsenal fan, so that's part of your ego, part of your identity in the world, part of your sense of self. When you see your team win, then that part of you is like validated. Does that make sense?
I guess it rubs off on our identity because we are caught up in whatever team. So it would still get some kind of feeling because we hold it so significant and it's a part of our identity. Another question. So we spoke again about a couple of weeks ago about how men don't care what status level of women they date, but women want to date up or across. Can you give me a bit more context on why you think that is?
Yeah, so this is obviously like I learned this stuff like from, I don't know, like modern wisdom, like podcast episodes with like evolutionary psychologists, I guess. And you know, evolutionary psychology is so controversial. And I see what you're doing here, Jake. You're trying to get things out of me that are going to do well online. I see what's going on. Know your games. But yeah, if you think about it, right? Imagine, I don't know, like thousands of years ago, we still have the same principles really psychologically as our ancestors. If you're looking to date somebody, or you're looking to have offspring, right, as a female, you want to choose the best possible partner you can. Okay? So you want to pick a male in the tribe that is at least as competent, or ideally more competent in life than you are. Because that means that you're going to get very, very high quality genes for your offspring, right? That's less relevant for a male, I guess, because what we're looking for is, evolutionary speaking, not talking about me and you or any specific guy, evolutionarily speaking, we're looking for youth and fertility, because youth and fertility is an indicator of good genes. It all comes down to like genetic stuff and evolutionary psychology and all that. Do I think it really plays out in the real world? Maybe. I think it does. Now, I don't know the exact statistics on that, but you know, even the fact, now this is a scary stat. This is not me saying this. This is like crazy research that the higher a female is in IQ, the lower chance she has of getting married. And the converse is the case for men. The higher the IQ of a man, the more likely he is to get married. And it's like, it poses questions, doesn't it? Are those same dating dynamics that we would have had thousands of years ago still the case today? Just danced and dressed up in a different way, dressed up in Instagram followers and fucking finance bro quarter zips and shit. Maybe it is. I don't know. What do you think, Jake? What do you think?
I'm trying to comprehend what that means because, okay, I think the female perspective is pretty logical. It's like, I want the strongest man. I want like the Pop Smoke gangster guy that like is famous and is rich and is like a monster. He's a controlled monster.
Yes.
And my controlled monster. But the male one, I'm trying to understand what that means, because does that mean that like that you want that men we're competing for like the chavvy girl in Luton and and we're competing for the girl that's half Moroccan and half Spanish that lives in Dubai with a net worth of $1 million.
No, it's interesting. It's true. Okay, but I think this is going to... Right,
go on.
Jake, hear me out, right? I'm just playing with the crazy hypotheticals, but fuck it. Let's say your name is Jacqueline, right? And you're a 30-year-old lady looking to meet someone to settle down with, to have children, right? You're looking for like stability, right? And a man with decent character, and that really is is indicator of like good quality genes and a good quality nurturing environment. Now, that is likely to be someone who is as competent or more competent than you in the social hierarchy, right? That could be, I don't know, a 35-year-old guy that's just like, he's got his finances sorted, he's a good bloke, he's been through some stuff, whatever. Now, let's turn the tables and say that you're a 30-year-old guy looking to like settle down and have kids. Would you really want somebody that's like 35 but she's like really like she's really ingrained high up in the social hierarchy, like she's done really well in business, or she's got loads of different like skills and stuff,
Like or
you have a 25-year-old girl who's like much healthier biologically just because she's younger and is more fertile by definition because she's younger. The guy to have kids and settle down, the social status, money, skill stuff doesn't matter as much as the health and fertility. That's why I think it comes back to evolutionary psychology, Jacob.